here I go coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need an invitation. I'm about to start a celebration.
Hello,
Hi,
friends.
guys.
Hi.
Hello,
How are
hello.
y'all doing?
Doing
Good.
well.
Excellent. Have you had a nice week?
Okay.
Very good
Yeah.
week. Staying warm.
Yeah,
All
good
right.
week, but yeah, it's been cold. It's been
All
cold
right.
here.
Let's see if we could maybe take our week up a notch and get a good conversation going with my friends from Three Cocktails In. I have not moderated in a while, so forgive me if I'm out of practice, but it's lovely to see you. I'm here with Kitty and Stacy, and we are coming out of the deep freeze of Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
It was 23 today,
Mhm.
and I didn't
Mhm.
wear gloves. Whoop whoop!
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
I think
This
it's
is-
going to be warm this week.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I
Yeah,
wore that big, huge, heavy coat that I bought,
Mhm.
and I felt like I was walking along in an insulated stadium blanket.
Yeah.
I'm sure I look like Randy from, you remember the little kid from Christmas Story? That's how I felt.
Yeah.
I am wearing
Yeah.
a comforter, but it
Oh my
worked.
gosh.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, and when we say warm, we're talking in the 30s. So
Yeah.
Yes.
But in
Yeah.
January, that's warm.
people will be wearing shorts around here.
Yeah. Dingbats.
There's always somebody.
Yeah, there is, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So what's everybody drinking?
I'm hydrating.
You hydrating? Stacy's not hydrating.
I'm not. Nope. I have my Pinot Grigio today in my Three Cocktails In wine glass.
Nice. I am drinking a very full Yeti full of caffeine-free Diet Coke for two reasons. One, I had a little extra glass of red wine last night. Extra.
Mm.
And I have a super early meeting tomorrow that I got to be down in down south for. So I got a very long day tomorrow, and I cannot be waking up between 1 and 3 in the morning, which
No.
is what I'm discovering happens when I have the wine before bed.
Huh.
So
It's one of the reasons why, and so I'm trying to remember now roughly the time frame on this when it started to really affect me if I had more than a couple glasses of wine over the course of an evening. I just would not sleep well at all, and it was particularly red wine. So I stopped drinking red wine years ago, but then I noticed the same thing happening with the white wine. It's all the sugar. And I love to have a good, cold, crispy glass of wine once in a while, but I just don't feel good afterward. And I've decided it's not worth it.
So what I'm hearing from this is I shouldn't drink wine before bed. I should go with vodka or gin. Less sugar.
Well,
Yes.
if that's what you're hearing, I guess.
Oh, you guys, this has just it's been a month, and we joke about stuff like this. We drink
Yeah.
responsibly.
Yes.
99.7% of the
None of
time.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Well,
the other,
I'll test your theory. I haven't noticed that it ever makes a difference for me. So I'll be the
right.
one to drink.
Okay, you figure it out for us.
Mhm.
So I wanted to talk about something else this week that is really kind of hit home, probably because it has been so freezing ass cold out. And that's this idea of community, loneliness, groups of friends. For many of us, I'm guessing it's the same super down south when it's 110 degrees and you never leave your house either. But I've been in my house, as probably all of us have, for weeks. Weeks. It's too cold to go anywhere. For me, I like to walk to these different places, but it's got me thinking about this kind of feeling of loneliness. And now I live by myself. I go to work, and most days I see somebody. Somebody comes in to talk to me. There are some days where nobody comes in, especially when it's like 12 below. People are not coming in to look for a new home. And I'm finding that my community, and I don't mean friends. I have friends. You guys are friends. I have some other friends. But that group of people that we used to do things with, I used to do that has changed. And
Yeah.
not because of the divorce, although that's one part of it, but I started to notice that, um, a number of years ago, and it's a little bit harder now. I haven't replaced it. I haven't replaced that sense of community, and I'm really
Mhm.
finding it to be an issue,
Mhm.
this time of the year.
Yeah. Well, you you picked up and moved, right? So there's
Yes, I
that
did.
too.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you
did. Yes. Yep.
moved into a whole new uh,
Neighborhood.
neighborhood, physical community. So
Yeah.
you've been in the mode of meeting people there,
Sure.
and I would assume that you moved into a place where the people who are there have been there for a while. They've got their communities built already, and sometimes it's not easy to, if we look at it from both sides. I ask myself too, how welcoming am I to new people? So
Right?
how welcoming have people been to you, Amy, in your new condo building, in your
Um,
new work? You're not
oh,
married?
my condo building, I tell you, I have more conversations with the guys in the parking booth. Jarrett's my guy. He
Hmm.
Every time I see him, we have great conversations. I mean, I could be his mom, and he's just so delightful. And we talk about all sorts of stuff. I have had maybe 2 conversations with neighbors, people
Hmm.
in my building, and I've lived here over 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's weird.
that is
Yeah.
weird.
Now, I don't always go to, like, they're starting this community game night sort of thing. My schedule doesn't work out where I can get in there, although I suppose I could come late, but then the
Hmm.
game's already half done, or whatever. Um, so that's a little interesting. But I think even before I did move, I was noticing that what my community, my group of people was, and I'm using community lightly. I don't
Hmm.
mean, I mean like the neighborhood group or the people that we hung out with on weekends in larger groups
Hmm.
that we would, they all had something to do with sports and the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of it
Yeah.
did.
I think when our kids, graduated from high school, every time that was a, you know, end end of hanging out with a certain group that you spent a lot of time at school functions and that kind of thing with. And it's always hard to, find reasons to hang out with those same,
Hmm.
people. So that's definitely an end. You may make really good friends with some of them, but it takes real, um, really trying to get
Yeah.
Extra.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Effort and
real
planning.
effort. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, you guys, I don't know if anybody else saw it, but I posted that funny meme on Instagram that said, it was like a mock headline that says, "In town friends get together only when out of town friend shows up." And that is
Hmm.
so true. That is
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
There are 4 of us that live
Hmm.
within half an hour of each
Hmm.
other. We see each other when Stacy comes to town.
Yeah.
We
Right.
might see each other maybe individually, but as a group, we don't. We don't see each other that often.
Hmm.
Um, so Stacy, Stacy and Kitty both, you guys have lived in your current neighborhood
Hmm.
for a long time.
Sure.
Do you find you're as active with neighbors, or is it your, like, how do you feel like you go knock on somebody's door and say, "Hey, I really could use a cup of sugar," or you know what, I'm bored. What are you guys doing?
Well,
You
I
know?
I I feel like I could do that with my immediate
Yeah.
with people on this side of us and people on this side of us, and maybe one in the cul-de-sac, I feel like I could do that. But the whole dynamic has changed, because when all of us had little kids, we did do things together. There was a bonfire in somebody's backyard every weekend. There was an impromptu soccer game in between our yards. But then the kids grew up and moved away, and so as I think about, and some of the neighbors moved away, so I look at it as it's constantly
Flow.
evolving, coming and going. But I think that there will always be those people that will stick with you, and even if you don't talk to them every day or see them even once a month or once every 6 months, there are people that I think you develop a bond with, that you could pick up the phone and call them and have a conversation like they'd never left.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. It doesn't solve for a physical loneliness that we might feel.
Mm-hmm.
We had neighbors who lived across the street. They had 2 boys. The younger one was very, very close friends with Bo. And when they told us they were moving away, I was angry. It made me mad. Like, we're close friends. How could you? Why would you want to live somewhere else?
You have brought up a couple times that I now live the farthest away since 1986 or something like that.
I wasn't happy with you either, Missy.
I do get that. I do understand that.
But yes, I think it comes and goes, and and I do think that it becomes harder to make new friends as we get older.
That was going to be my next question. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So if you're hit with loneliness, and I mean, maybe you guys don't get that. Do you search out new friends? Do you see somebody? I mean, that's how I met Trisha. Mm-hmm. We both, yes, we had kids, but we were both sitting by ourselves at the same place week after week after week.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the kids weren't, I mean, it was a big lobby that we were sitting in, and finally said something. I met one of my new friends by being down at a bar, and she sat down a few chairs from me, and I have enough of my mom in me that I talk to anybody. And I made a comment about, oh, you really increased the odds here of women at the bar, thanks, whatever. And we just started talking. So are we besties? No, but anytime she's going somewhere downtown or I am, it's a text. Hey, I'm going there. You want to meet me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys are running in the same circles you've been in for quite some time. Do you find yourself reaching out to other new people?
Yeah.
Do you?
I did a little research on, how you do this at an older age. Certainly, for us, yes, we have some neighbors that we do things with. Since we live on a lake, not so much in the winter, more in the summer when it's nice out and we boat or do something or whatever. And a lot of our friends, honestly, between the two of us, even our couple friends are more long distance. You know what I mean? So we'll get together rarely, doesn't happen very often. So anyway, the piece of advice was don't be afraid to make the first move. So I think there was one point where it's like, we felt like we didn't have anybody, close in proximity to do anything with. So we made the first move and we asked a couple over to dinner. I think that's what you do, pick someone, they'd be, fun to hang out with, make the first move. If it doesn't last, well, then you try again. And I think that can be the same for, single people, or just say, women looking for girlfriends or men looking for guy friends. You might have to be the one that makes the first move, just like you did with Trisha. Say, hey, Do you want to go do something? That
We went
that
to the
kind of thing.
Burger King ball pit
Yeah.
with all of our children, where one
Sure,
guarded
that
the
was
door so no kids could get out while the
right.
other went and got the food, sort of thing.
Yeah, but have the
Um,
courage to make the move, because the other one, your other couple or your other, just like you said, if you wouldn't have said anything to Trisha, she may have, it just might have gone on like that, and she would
yeah,
have never said
yeah.
anything, or maybe she would have. You never know.
Yeah.
But
So I think that's a really good point. And what made me start thinking about this a couple years ago was I read an article in the Washington Post about a young woman who moved to London. I believe it was for her work. She was 22. She was super excited to be in this, cosmopolitan city and go to theater and go out to pubs and go, live this new life. And she got there and she found she was super lonely because it was such a big community. And she didn't feel comfortable going to those things on her own. So she made some sort of post on like a Facebook group and started the London Lonely Girls Club, saying, "Hey, anybody else feeling a little lonely here, like to get together for something?" And like 5 women showed up, and they all got along. 5 people that had never met each other. They all willingly said, "I'm lonely. I'm going to go to this." One of them was like in the fashion industry and around lots of people all the time. But the pace of her business was such that there wasn't a lot of socializing. That group within 2 years has over 35,000 members. 35,000. And the stats on it are kind of amazing. They range in age from like 20 to 78. I think the average says they're like 28 to 32 or something like that. But I just think that's so wonderful. Talk about
Mhm.
putting yourself out there.
Yep.
Studies also do show that when we are feeling lonely, truly lonely, the last thing we want to do is make that first move.
Mhm.
Because then you're having to admit maybe you're not admitting, but you're acknowledging, I feel
Mhm.
lonely and I would like a friend.
Yeah.
And that
You're
is, I mean, I remember when the kids were little that it was so hard to explain that to them. But
Mhm.
now at my age, it does feel like I can
Yeah.
say the words, but it also feels kind of like, oh, I'm here.
Mhm.
There's another group again, and it's young women. I am just taking I get so much inspiration and energy from reading about these younger 20 something women. Um, a horrible TikTok video went out. This guy was sitting next to a group of women who were planning like a birthday party, and they said, and he was listening to them and he started recording them and then he posted it on TikTok. But these like 4 girls said, "Well, let's plan this party when so and so is out of town so we don't have to invite her."
ooh,
Oh.
And he posted it, and so heard it,
Mm.
looked at it, and those were her friends.
Mm.
And she found out, and she went on TikTok when she found out 2 weeks later and said, "That's me. I was the one that you guys excluded." And she got like instantly hundreds of outreach. And people in New York decided to go meet at Central Park somewhere, and hundreds of people showed up offering support. And that group now, which is called No More Lonely Friends, it's a Facebook group. It's got groups all over the place.
Mhm.
And I just think that's so, yes, it's not a face to face, "I'm lonely, I'd like to be your friend." But you're putting yourself out there online
Yeah.
and people are commenting. I'm finding that the things that we talk about
Mhm.
in, on our Facebook page, um, there are people out there that would love to have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
For me, that was one of the big reasons that I
Yeah.
wanted to do this podcast was that,
Mhm.
um, divorced women, you've moved because of a job transfer, you're a widow, or
Mhm.
guys, same thing.
Mhm.
How do you start over? Where do you
mhm,
Yeah.
go? How do
Yeah.
you do it?
yeah,
Mhm. Well, acknowledging it and putting it out there is is one of the first steps. And the nice thing is that more people are talking about this. So people are realizing that they aren't alone in it. There
Yeah.
are a lot of lonely people.
Right.
And I don't know if it kind of happened around the pandemic did a lot. It brought a
Not all of
lot
it was bad.
No, it brought a
No.
lot of stuff to the surface that all of a
Yes.
sudden made people comfortable talking about. And so I agree. This is one of the good outcomes of it. People are able to articulate these
Yeah.
things. Just put it out there.
You can't gloss over it. When you're
No.
stuck in your house and you can't go do all the things that you do to keep yourself busy, you're faced with,
Yep.
is this
Yeah.
my best life? Am I happy?
Yeah.
How are my friends? Thank God we
Mhm.
figured out Zoom and those bi-weekly,
Yeah.
twice weekly
Yeah.
things. One of the pieces of research I read was loneliness, depression, all of those hurt your body in the same way as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Oh my
That it
gosh.
actually, that chronic depression, loneliness, isolation has the same physical effects on your body as being a huge smoker. And you wouldn't think that
Man.
until you start to think about it, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
so Stacy says, make the first move.
Right.
Got any other ideas? Where do we go? Where do we find them? Where do we
Yeah.
Well,
find what are good places?
one thing that I do, so for my work, I've always done a lot of networking. So
Yes.
I try to go to at least one networking event a week. And I've done this for years and years and years. And that is not easy to walk into a room of business people that are all there, to network, but yet you see people gathering in little groups. And so you walk into
People
a
that
room.
already know each other.
Yes.
I mean, they already know each other.
Uh-huh. So you walk into a room and you feel like, am I the only person that doesn't know anybody here? Because everybody's talking to somebody. And in some cases, they're little groups and they look like they've known each other forever. Well, that's my perception in those moments. It probably isn't true. But I always look for people who are standing there not talking to anybody. And then I will go up to them and introduce myself and start a conversation. And I love how that person immediately, you can see that they're a little bit anxious because they're standing there feeling self-conscious because everybody's talking to somebody except them and me. And then we start talking and then you can just kind of see them relax a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I
so
would
I
bet
will
it's
always,
relief.
well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I would bet it's
yep,
relief that somebody's talking to them. Yeah.
somebody's talking to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I started a practice years ago that when I would meet people, particularly women, I would say, if you ever see any interesting networking events, let me know and let's go together. I love having a wing woman. And that's what I call it. And they're always like, oh my God, that's a great idea. Yes. And then they do. And so that's not that these people I've not become friends, like we are friends, but we are a community in that we will then see each other at a wide variety of networking events, or we'll ping each other and we'll go together.
Well, I think that you bring up something I hadn't thought about until right now. This whole
Mhm.
idea of having a variety of
Mhm.
communities.
Mhm.
Sure.
Your work community.
Mhm.
We were talking about this. There was, how you get focused on a thought and you watch a couple reels and then suddenly that's all that you see in your
Yes.
feed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something came up the other day and it was this man talking about work and people at work and how you need a work friend. And he was citing some studies that show that you can have the best job in the world. Oh, it was about burnout. I ignored the burnout part and went right to the friend part. You could have the best job in the world, but people will leave and feel burned out if they don't have one work friend.
Mm-hmm.
If you have one friend at work, a friend that you look forward to seeing, who sees things similar to you, who makes as much effort as you do, this doesn't have to mean your best friends, your work friends. You will put up with a less satisfactory job because of that friend.
Mm-hmm. I so believe that. Yeah, absolutely. And when I think back at all of my moves, all of the companies that I've been with, there's always been somebody at each of those companies that I would call my friend there that made it better.
Yeah.
That made
I'm
going
still
there
working.
every day better.
Stace, do you have a work friend?
Yes, I have a couple. And, even within, a couple of them are long distance, if you can believe it. But, we may talk on the phone once a week. That's nice to have. And even within our team, my team specifically, we all get along so well. And that's new. We haven't had a team like that forever. But now that we do, two are friends, they have a nice conversation, that I'm friends with both of them. And you know what I mean? So there's different, we talk to everyone. It's not like we're,
There's an odd man out,
there's an odd man. There's not an odd man out.
odd woman out.
Right. So that's been very nice. And that's in my opinion, a team wrecker is when you have that person that doesn't fit the team, possibly. You know what I mean? And and when you do find your perfect team like we have at the moment, that it's just so much better. We all enjoy going in. We don't hate it, obviously, and makes everything much better. So,
Yeah. Well, I've been with this company now just over 6 months. And again, I'm in sales, I'm in my own community. But there are salespeople that kind of in my regional area that I rely on to ask questions and stuff, because there's just a lot of stuff you don't know. You can't be trained on every single little thing. And we have sales meetings about every couple weeks. And I just brought Kitty to our big casino night.
So fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I'm still looking for that work person. The people lots of people are very friendly. And the ones that I've had most conversations with are women in their mid-20s, which, I think it's awesome. But again, saw a funny cartoon that said, yeah, this is the problem with work. You love your 65-year-old work people, but now I'm going to a birthday party on a Saturday night over at Perkins or something like that. It's like, so while I think it's awesome, I'm not sure they do.
They do.
They don't care. They don't care about that. But I think I think I would like to have that work,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I wouldn't see him every day. It's just not how we're set up.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so,
You'll find that friend at work.
It might take a while.
yeah. So one of the suggestions that I found was to become a regular somewhere.
So
So
I saw that same thing.
Yeah. So it doesn't just mean like Norm from Cheers. I think that the example was a woman was a writer and she worked at home. She worked, out of her own home. And she was just blah, I think, just looking for a little inspiration. And she went over to her friends and she thought the friend was going to map out how she was going to conquer this next thing. And the friend looked at her and said, yeah, you need to go find some place to hang out. And no one was like, God damn it. Really? Is that what it's got to be? So she picked an ice cream place that was in her neighborhood. And the idea was to kind of keep a similar schedule so that people come to recognize you there. and then you start to exchange names, and then other people who are in at that time, you want to find some place where somebody would miss you if you don't show up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting. And all you coffee drinkers have an advantage over me, the non-coffee drinker. Blech.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. Like, I would think Starbucks or somewhere like that,
Yeah.
Scooters or whatever, would be the perfect place. But you're right. What are you and I gonna do at that? Just sit there and work and
Chai tea. I guess I can do.
suppose.
Kitty,
And
tell
the
us all about. Go
yeah,
ahead.
the ice cream place is a good idea. However, I would eat ice cream every day, so that's not a good
Yeah,
not a
I
good
might as well go
solution.
down the street to my favorite French bakery
Right,
if
yeah. Have bread every
I'm gonna
day.
do that.
Yeah.
Kitty, tell us about your little coffee group that you used to
Mhm.
belong to. Talk about
Yes.
community.
Yes. And I'm missing that community now. So this started years ago. I would stop into my local Caribou on my way to work. And this was back when I was up and out of my house by 6 a.m. every morning. I'd go down to Caribou, I'd walk in, and there was always a group of guys that were sitting in the front chair area. And they were older guys. And it started with just a, hi, good morning. And then eventually it was maybe one of them would throw a question at me or something, and eventually one of them said, why don't you sit down and talk with us? And it wasn't creepy at all. These were um, I'll just leave it at that. It wasn't creepy. So I sat down and we started to have conversation. One of them was a retired CEO. One of them was a retired architect. One was a state legislator. One was an anesthesiologist.
Wasn't there a mayor?
No,
Former mayor?
not the mayor, but the state representative.
State rep.
Yep. So, and they would be there every morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, not Thursday. So,
I wonder where they went on Thursday.
well, on Thursday, I think it was Rotary on Thursday. So many of them were at Rotary, and so they just didn't meet that morning. Yeah. But they just sort of adopted me. So I'm the only woman in this group. We talked about business. We talked about current events. They gave me advice. When I went through job changes, we hashed all of that stuff out, and they were great. And what an interesting example of a very unexpected community.
Yeah.
That if
you did it regularly.
every day for a number of years, and what stopped it was COVID. So here's one thing that was bad with COVID.
Yeah.
But but interestingly, they've kept me on the email chain. So they've all resumed. They do still go to coffee, but I've changed my routine. I don't go in anywhere that early anymore. So I just don't have the same routine, but they've kept me on the email chain. So I know, who's sick and sadly who might have passed away. And if something's happening, they keep me in the loop, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other examples were like the library, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I think that for people who are crafty, yarn shops are calling for people to come and sit. I mean, they love crafters, whether it's knitting or quilting, or people go and they like to talk about what they're doing. So you could be from all different walks of life, but you've got that commonality.
Yep.
And I think there's more going on to the sense of community there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's just been very interesting to see who else opens eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and looks around and says, "Hey, do you want to come along?"
Mm-hmm.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
You guys have other thoughts, other ideas for us?
Oh boy.
Work friends. I would like to go Oh, this is super funny. Talk about connections and being at places all the time. I was going to say I need to start going to more twins games and stand at the same spot. I did that a couple summers ago, and I would kind of see some people that I saw there. I sold a house recently in my neighborhood, and the woman was wearing full Vikings gear. And I'm like, "Oh, are you a big sports fan?" She goes, "Oh, I love the Vikings and the Twins." I said, "Hey, I love the Twins too." And we got to talking about it, and she goes, "Oh, you really should." Oh, and I knew she was a knitter. And I said something about, "Oh yeah." She goes, "Do you ever go stand by Sue?" Sue is the organist at the Twins game. Okay, so I have been quite a few times. I am a little bit of a regular there, but I'm like, "Oh yeah, one of my best friends, Lori, is always right by Sue." And she goes, "Wait, Lori and her friend Kathy, they both knit. I know them." I'm like, "Oh my God." Lori and I went to high school
Wow.
together. Yes. So I'm selling a home out in the middle of nowhere with a woman who happens to be wearing Vikings gear. And from that, we have this connection of people that she's good friends with them and knows them through knitting. And now she's
That's
going to be in the
amazing.
community where I'm working.
Yeah.
All
That's
because I made a comment about the Vikings, and I didn't say what I really wanted to say was football sucks.
yeah.
But
Jeez. By the way, I'm missing the Chiefs game for our
Yes, we
recording this
are.
evening.
Yes, we are.
it'll still be on. They take forever.
I'm watching the
it'll-
score. We're good.
Okay,
Watching the
all
score.
right.
What's the score now?
27-24.
Ooh, okay, you guys. Well, I'm for you two Chiefs fans. Let's table this loneliness and community discussion. Let's get to our 3 shots.
Okay.
I got a shot this time, you guys.
Oh,
a
hey,
real
good
live
deal.
shot. Would you like
Hit
me to go
it.
first, or should I go
Yeah.
first? Okay. I went to Target, where I haven't been in forever because it's not on my route. And I looked up something that I was influenced by
Mhm.
online
There you
by
go.
making up for glossed time. It's a
Okay.
woman I love, Jen. She's into fashion and she's into makeup. And she suggested ColourPop, and they have liquid matte lipstick. I don't really care for a matte lipstick. I find them really drying, but this was like $10.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I gave it a try, and I outlined my lips, and you put it on and it's like lip gloss, but then it dries. I'm
Mhm.
not kidding. This lasts all day and it doesn't get
Wow.
gross. I'm in
Nice.
love with it. This color is a Fifth Avenue.
It's
You
lovely.
can see it. But this is the little tube.
Okay.
There we go.
Yep.
ColourPop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Art, what does that say? Ultra matte lip.
Okay.
So then when
I
it
think I
dries,
gotta
could you put lip gloss or something on top of it? I mean,
Oh, sure. But
And
the
it-
color really stays.
yeah.
And it doesn't bleed, lip
And it-
liner. Always use lip liner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
They don't
doesn't
have
dry
a
your
ton of
lips out.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. So
Good.
that's my
Good one.
pop.
Very
Color
good.
pop. Try that.
Very definitely.
All
All right. Anybody else?
I do. Since we've been talking about fashion, was that last week or no? A couple of weeks ago.
2
We
weeks
talked
ago.
about
2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Mhm.
Talked about fashion over 50, and I can't remember if I'd mentioned this early on when we just started the podcast, but there's a little online boutique that launched out of Nashville. Little over a year ago, a couple of influencers that I'm obsessed with. And I buy so much from them. And this is one of their pieces. This is a kind of a longer shacket. But I find it to be, I'm going to say nicely priced. It's not like, I want to say full price. This is maybe like 90 or something like that. So it's not fast fashion. But it's just very, very on trend. And I think many of the things are really wonderful for our age group, keeping us stylish, keeping us stylish.
Mhm.
So I think we talked a little bit about that on the Fashion Over 50. We
Yes,
want to
we did.
be, you can, like, I am never going to shop at Talbot's.
Yes.
I'm not going to go in there. That's not my style. And so I feel like some of these online boutiques, it's called The Post. I'll drop a link onto our
First comment.
page here. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that you can check it out. They drop new releases a couple times a week. And I just think they do a really beautiful job of curating a really nice assortment.
Cool.
Good. Yeah, I'm going to go back to my, don't be afraid to make the first move. This won't be a first move. However, I'm going to reach out to two of my friends who we said a year ago when we went out to dinner that we'll do this more often. And it's been a year. So I'm going to reach out to both of them and we'll set up a date. That's what I'm going to do.
Good.
Good
And
idea.
do that with your other friends that you don't see often enough, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
make a
So-
plan.
So thank you. Thank you guys for being my friends and listening to me again with my new life challenges.
Yes.
I know I'm not alone. I know that there are other women out there. I know because we get a lot of responses
Mhm.
and I love it. So we're starting our own little community in 3 Cocktails In on our Facebook page. Would love to hear what people are doing, if they welcome new people to their group, where they go. And if you think you've got a friend that would benefit from a little community, hit the follow, hit the share, leave a
Yeah.
comment.
Yes.
We're
Yeah, for
very
sure.
welcoming, not just of women, not just over 50,
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
all ages. And
Yeah.
if you're younger and only doing things with people from your kids' groups, take this with a little grain of salt. Maybe work on some friendships that aren't centered around the kids.
Mhm. Yep. It's good
Yeah.
advice.
All right, chicas,
Okay.
is it time? Go cheer on your team.
Yep. We're going to go finish watching the Chiefs. Have
Yeah.
a
It's
good
going to be
week.
funny because when this airs, everybody will already know.
Right. But that's all right.
You can
be
send
just a quick-
condolences or,
Yeah.
or,
No,
or
hopefully
or
not.
whatever
Hopefully
to
not.
these two. All right.
Yay.
Okay.
Right.
Bye.
Okay. See you guys next
Bye.
week. Okay.
Peace
Bye.
out.
Peace out.
Bye.
All right. Woo. Look. I got that wow. Who wants some hands up right now? We got that. Turn it up loud. I know you're wondering how. I got that wow. Here I go, coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need an invitation. I'm about to start a celebration. Let me in. Brought a good time plus some friends. Turn it up loud past 10. Turning up the crowd when I hit 'em.